Have you ever been where I've never... we've never really... You and I drank together once. I'm not a big drinker. You're not a big drinker, but you've gotten to be... You drink more now than in the past.
Right.
Like, you were at my house. You watched the house while we were away for a few days, and I got home, and I look in the freezer for something else, and I see a box of... What are they called? Like Chubby Boys or whatever? The fucking
the big
ice cream cakes? Yeah. What are they called?
I think they're Big Boys, aren't they?
Big Boys,
yeah.
And then there were 2 bottles of
Fat
Boys. 2 bottles, and I saw that, and I was like, what the fuck's this supposed to mean? That's you, motherfucker, Fat Boy. And then there were 2 bottles of booze, and I was like, I know that booze wasn't in here when I fucking left. Like, I felt like a parent that came back to the house and was just like, what went on here? But 2 bottles of, like, the liquor, like a vodka bottle and some of the liquor that had to keep...
Comfort.
That you had to keep on ice or something like that. And I was like, Johnson's fucking hitting the bottle in a weird way. You drink more now than...
I wonder he's 2 X's for eyes. What's going on?
He's always carrying around a jug with 3 X's on it. But you've never been a big drinker. You
Never.
In high school?
I would drink only because...
Peer pressure?
Yes.
All right. But were you ever a big smoker? You never smoked cigarettes, but did you ever smoke weed?
A handful of times.
And why didn't you continue it?
I don't know. I just don't like the feeling of being...
Silly?
I guess that's the word, right? I don't like to not feel in a normal state.
You like to be in control of your senses at all times and shit? In case you have to face off against an opponent or some sort of mental battle of wits.
Some monkey grabs him.
What is it? Is it a legal thing that keeps you from smoking weed?
Me?
Yeah.
Even if
you're high now, dude. You're like, what?
Because you started throwing your hands up and doing hand signals.
I'm talking real Italian.
I did not. Even if pot was legal, I wouldn't smoke it.
Really?
Never.
I think he was looking down his nose at me a little bit earlier tonight because we were having a discussion about parenting, basically, and would I smoke weed if I had kids versus if I didn't. Because
do you smoke weed now?
I do.
How regularly? That's something I don't know about you. How is this something new?
All these substances.
Really? Is this a recent development?
No, I got because we live in Southern California,
right?
And, in Hollywood or West Hollywood,
where people offer you drugs at every turn.
Yeah, well, it's
welcome to Hollywood. Would you like weed?
It's decriminalized, so you can get a card and go to these, pharmacies or whatever. And
wait, are you saying that weed is legal in Los Angeles?
It's a gray area. They won't arrest you for it. Like, if you're carrying it around and they catch you, you can get a fine. But basically, like, if you buy it and you take it directly home and you smoke it at home, they're not going to lean on you.
And where are you buying it?
There used to be a place right on La Brea and like off of Sunset,
why are you buying? Do you have cancer or something? Why are you buying medicinal marijuana?
I don't know. Well, it's it can be. I mean, it's bullshit. Like people are like many different reasons. Like you go on there and you're like, look, I'm depressed, which technically, I am. But I have other medicine for that.
Right.
But I mean, you can say, okay, here's my problem, and I'll say, here's your card, and for X amount of dollars, and then that gives you.
Here's my problem. I'm not stoned. Would you get me stoned? They're like, we got just the thing for you.
I saw a bunch of cases like this earlier today. So you go in and you just basically pick out what you want, and you can buy a lot. I think it's like up to, it's like 8 ounces you can buy.
How much is that?
It's half a pound. I mean, that's a lot.
But they
How much does that cost?
Well, it's for an eighth. It would be like the best stuff there is usually $70 to $75 for an eighth.
I mean, they actually grade the weed.
They're like, would you like some grade D weed? They're like, basically, we just pulled this out of the lawn outside.
Is that true?
Yeah, well, I mean, there's different qualities, just like there's different qualities of other stuff. And I mean, the least expensive ones are, somewhere around like $30-$35.
Which weed do you splurge and buy the good weed?
Usually I buy the better stuff because I don't smoke it a ton.
Right. So you smoke it, though?
Mm-hmm.
It's not like it doesn't come in Marinol form, like a pill or something like that?
No, I mean, you can get like edibles, if you wanted to.
Like brownies, if you will?
Yeah, brownies and cookies and stuff.
Well, why wouldn't you do that?
If you don't want to smoke.
You like to smoke?
Not necessarily, no.
But smoking it gets you higher quicker.
Yeah, I mean, if it's good enough, like, you can put it into, like, a little bat, like one of those little metal fake cigarettes, and, you know, one...
You know the terminology, dude. You're like fucking, you're like Huggy Bear and Starsky and Hutch.
I'm from the streets, yo. But, you know, just a tiny bit will be okay.
So how often do you smoke?
It depends. Sometimes it'll be a couple times a week, but then I might go for a stretch for like 2 months where I won't do it.
Do you do it alone?
Sometimes. You know, I mean, usually...
The majority of the time? Or
I would say majority of the time. Mostly because...
You're by yourself lighting up?
I have no friends.
But like, if you're not...
Unless you, Mosier, or Lynch are willing to smoke weed, then I'm not smoking weed.
I've never smoked weed with... I think that would be fun.
Yeah.
You've smoked weed with what, Lynch?
No.
Who has been your smoking partner?
My smoking partner, for the most part, has been my brother Darren, my brother Eric, and Harley. No. And,
she's like, this shit's harsh, Uncle Brian.
Super Brian.
This is stinkweed, ain't it? So, what, 3 times a week? 4 times a week? It hasn't progressed to the point where you're like, I need to get high every day.
No, I'm not, like, there are people that are like, they like to do the wake and bake, if you will. Mm-hmm. And I don't like to do that. One, because I have to drive to work. 2,
right.
Because I have to...
On a motorcycle, no less.
Right, yeah, exactly. And, like, if I'm at work, like, I don't want to feel that way. Like, then I go into Flanagan mode, where I'd like to be more business-like.
Right.
You know, have dilated pupils and be like...
Where they bring, like, a $99 statue up, and they're like, I'll give you 15, and you're like, whatever. It's all good.
He won't care.
He's fucking rich, bitch.
Am I drunk? I don't know.
How high have you gotten by yourself? Like, what's the highest you've gotten? Like, do you get giggly by yourself?
I get more, like, real focused on stuff. Like,
do you wake up the next morning and there's, like, a dead hooker next to you? You're like, I smoked too much.
Yeah, no, it doesn't make me violent or anything, but...
the opposite, I'd imagine.
Yeah, I'll become real focused on stuff, like South Park. Recently, I've been watching all the seasons, and I'll just, like, really focus on that, or...
You get high and watch South Park?
Mm-hmm.
This is an aspect of your character I had no idea existed. Or The Room.
The Room, yeah. I have to advise everyone out there to watch The Room.
Especially, and better high?
Yeah. If you have a tiny bit of, like, I mean, you could drink a little bit, or if you smoke a little bit, it makes it that much more enjoyable. But it is an experience.
It's equivalent to, like, the Rocky Horror Picture Show in terms of, like, I understand it's much better to do in an audience participation setting.
It's pretty cool to do in an audience, but if you have a few like-minded friends, it is really fun.
So more than, if you're by yourself, it's fun, but if you've got a few people, you're laughing with people like, isn't it fucked up?
I think I watch it, like, once alone, and it's just not the same thing.
And it's a movie about, like, who's the guy that made it? Tommy Wiseau?
Tommy Wiseau, yeah.
And it's basically the best bad movie ever made.
I feel it is the greatest bad movie ever made.
And, like, unintentionally funny, but brilliantly hysterical.
He has now started calling it a black comedy, but I truly believe that he was earnest in his attempt to create this drama of his girlfriend cheating on him with his best friend.
Right. And
it is so... I mean, it's just... I just marvel at the inconsistencies and the nuances and the... At the lines, it's just amazing.
I never heard of this movie. What's it called?
It's called The Room.
What year was it made?
I think it was like 2002, 2003.
Oh, it's that recent?
When I moved to Los Angeles, they had The Room billboard up on La Brea, which is still fucking up to this day. And he paid for it himself because he self-distributed it, right?
Right.
Put it up. It's not like no studio released it. Right. But I would put that at about, 2003, 2004.
I mean, how much could that be per month? I mean, it has to be a ton of money.
The way I figure it is...
So faded, too.
That's the thing. I think it was just a forgotten billboard.
Yeah, somebody forgot to
nobody else is fucking ponied up to get it, so it's not like they strip it down. They're just like, well, we'll leave it there until we get somebody else who wants it. That's the nearest I can figure, because I can't imagine he's paying for it. But they run it at the Laemmle on Sunset.
Once a month. The last time we were there, Jonah Hill was there, Paul Rudd, Kristen Bell, and they were really into it. Paul Rudd. He must love it to no end because he had lines and he was completely prepared for the experience. And 2 weeks ago, when Quinn was in town, Brian Quinn, we were supposed to go see 310 to Yuma, and there weren't that many great seats, so we went over to Amoeba instead. and I get a frantic call and then text from Lynch, who says Tommy Wiseau's over in Borders, which is, across the street and down the block. So we ran over there and we got pictures taken with him and got to talk to him a little bit. He's just so awesome too, because like, you would think that the man might be different from the movie, but not the case.
Does he understand that, like, I mean, I won't go so far as to say that him and his movie are objects of ridicule, but does he understand that, like, does he seem to get that it's like, I like your movie because it sucks, dude?
I don't think so. I don't think so. He appeared to be, I don't want to say this is the case, but he appeared to be on some sort of, like sedative or something.
Says the guy who's like, I was
Marijuana?
baked.
Right, I mean,
Yeah, marijuana.
we can smell our own kind.
You're like, let's get baked, Wiseau.